Hey, good morning guys. Chris here with 4K Motoring, and today we're going to go ahead and do our heads-up display repair on the 2001 Corvette. Hopefully this should be a fairly easy thing to do, although time-consuming. So stay tuned and see what happens. So this should all be stuff you guys have seen before multiple times on my channel. I'm not going to spend a lot of time showing you the disassembly of the console unit. I'll kind of pick the video up when we start disassembling the actual dashboard piece. It's all pretty easy. It uses the same tools that you'd use for the console, a lot of T15 bolts and little picks to get clips out. So should be a not difficult process, just kind of a time-consuming, tedious process. So stick with me. We're going to fly through the beginning and then I'll get back with you for the dashboard. One thing you should definitely take care of before you go ahead and get anything really unplugged or get too invasive here is go ahead and unplug the battery. So at this point, we've got the console off. It went much quicker this time. I think we're getting quite proficient at it. We're going to go ahead and start with the disassembly of the dashboard. Now, there's a bunch of clips that are along the bottom here and a couple in the center. So there's some bolts we got to take off that were right behind where the console is. And you can see they're hooked into the bracket that basically the plastic backing for the dashboard. These are all going to be 7mm, just like when we did our infotainment system, all those screws were. So we're going to pull those off. I believe there's 3 right here. We're going to end up pulling this cover off, and then we're going to end up pulling this whole unit off, and I believe there's 1 or 2 more screws, either T15 or 7mm behind this. Okay guys, so we've gone ahead, we removed the 3 bolts from the center console area, the 7mm, into our area where our air temperature sensor is. There's just that one Torx bit, the rest of it comes out. When we come around to the driver's side here, when we pop that first light cover off, you saw there's 1 T15 bolt behind that. That whole unit will pop down. There's 1 more T15 underneath the steering wheel area. That'll allow this whole kick panel to come off. Then you'll have another 7mm that's going to be holding on this side of the dash. You're going to have to remove the trim panels for the A-pillars on both sides. There's just a couple clips, metal retaining clips that hold those in, and 1 locating pin. So they'll just literally pop off and come out in one direction. So just pop out and then slide straight up so it comes out of that pin. No tools required for that. There's going to be 1 7mm bolt buried up here between the A-pillar and the dashboard. It's kind of a pain to get to, but it's fairly, otherwise fairly simple. And you're going to have 2 more T15s on the top of your dash here, the instrument panel, that are holding your dashboard to the instrument panel. Okay, so that should be about it for this side. We're going to have the centerpiece we're going to have to get out yet. We're going to have to deal with this 4-way switch that also does the turn signals. That's a frequent one to go out, so if you have one you need to replace, now might be a good time to have one on order. And we're going to go ahead and hop over to the passenger side now, and we'll show you how to get that side apart, and we should be about halfway done. So the passenger side actually wasn't too bad. Again, we have the A-pillar here, comes off the same way. Have that one bolt that's down, it's a 7mm right between the A-pillar and the dash. We've got one more on the side, 7mm, kind of right on the side. When you close the door, it's in there. The glove box is the biggest issue on this side. You've got 4 of the 7mm bolts on the top of the glove box. And then in the glove box, you'll see there are 2 little pads, kind of like this, that cover these holes in the glove box underneath the floor. So you have to empty everything out of the glove box. There's going to be 2 10mm bolts accessible behind those. So you got to pull both those plugs, 2 10mm bolts. This whole thing will drop down. You have a couple wire clips that come out here. The airbag on-off switch is actually a long enough cord you can let the whole glove box drop with it. The light is one that you're going to have to disconnect before you drop it, because you're not going to be able to have enough length on that to let this hang. After that, we've got just about everything done. We went ahead and pulled our top vent off that has these 2 twist lock sensors for the twilight and HVAC system. There are 2 7mm bolts, one on each side of that take this dashboard off. And from there, all we have to do yet is take this hazard switch, disconnect that, and the whole thing should lift out. Again, it's easier with the roof off and easier if you drop that steering wheel down. While we're here, I also want to make note, one of the reasons we're doing this is to install the GPS antenna in the car. So we did go ahead and pull the head unit back off the car so we can go ahead and make that happen. So I know I'm not really in the best light here to show you guys, but we've gone ahead and got the dashboard out. We're going to go ahead and get onto our heads-up display and get that repaired. Hopefully that's equally as quick. Get it all back together. Hopefully I didn't break anything. I don't think I did coming out, so it should be a pretty easy process to go back together. Let's see how it goes. Well guys, we've gone ahead and gotten the full dash out of the car, and we've removed the heads-up display from the car. This is the unit right here. As you can see, it's got a bolt on both sides. It's got one locating tab on the back and a wiring harness here. So the 2 10mm bolts are pretty easy to get out, nothing special about them. The 7mm locating bolt, the one here on the side, really doesn't take a whole lot of time. You don't have to get it out entirely, you just have to loosen it so the unit can come straight up. The wiring harness, right here, you see there's no tabs on it. You just wiggle this and it will come out. I was a little bit hesitant to do so just because it's all wiring, but there are no clips or anything to hold it in. It literally just pops right out. So from here, we're going to go ahead and show you how to get this out. There's a couple Phillips head screws on the cover. This will pop off, and we can get to our mirror inside. We can clean it up a little bit as we go. So this is the heads-up display unit. To get it apart, the mirror is kind of sitting down inside. We've got to get this top cover off of it, and to do so, there are 4 Phillips head screws. See right there, if it focuses, there we go. There's 4 of those, and some of these are quite difficult to get to, especially these bottom ones. The actual screws are deep down in here, and this hole is not very wide, so make sure you have a good set of screwdrivers that can actually fit down in there, because the majority I had were either too wide or too narrow. The ones that could fit down there were too narrow to get the screws. So once we have that done, we can go ahead and pull this off. There is one little wiring connector up there that seems very fragile. I don't want to do a whole lot with that because I'm worried it will break. So I'm just going to set that aside because it's not in our way. And we're going to be able to see that right in here, I'll kind of show you, is our mirror. So on this side right here, we got on one side of the mirror a bracket that holds the little bushing in, just like that. Has one little Phillips head screw. This is the bracket. And we can go ahead and remove that, set that aside, make sure it stays in a good place. Don't want to lose it. Obviously be very careful with a lot of this stuff. There's not a lot of replacement parts for it, so don't get too aggressive when removing anything. Next we had our actual main motor mechanism that's got 2 Phillips head screws on it. One is going to be located right on this inside. One's going to be located right outside. We're going to go ahead and pull both of those off, and that'll free this unit. From there is a little spring that comes off this corner, just pulls right off. And next, all this will start to come out. Obviously there's wiring, so don't pull too hard. There we can manipulate our mirror and remove it from the housing. So on ours, the axle post is still somewhat attached, but it's got a big groove cut in it, which seems to be etched. You guys can kind of see that groove there. That should be a round pin, and from just years of little vibrations and moving back and forth, this has eaten away to the point where there's not a whole lot left to it. So with ours, I guess we have a couple options. We can try a little bit of filler to try and fill in that hole, or we can just pop this pin out, drill in a screw like everybody else does, and run it that way. So I think we're going to replace it with metal and get it all back together here. Okay, so we have our mirror protected and in a vise. The little pin that was off, looking at the actual head of it, we found a nail. It seems to be about 3/8 inch. So we're going to replace the little piece of plastic with, we're going to cut up this nail right here and see if we can drill that out and insert this in its place. Hopefully that'll get us where we need to be. So it's important to note that the little pin that's on there actually has 2 screws that you can undo it and get to the back. That'll kind of guide you in so you're not drilling a crooked hole. So you can see where the pin is there. You can punch that out and just drill out to kind of that diameter, and we'll go ahead and get it replaced, and hopefully that'll be all the fix we need. Okay, we've gone ahead and drilled out this post, and we've gone ahead and set in a screw. We've ground off the threads where it needs to articulate, and we've gone ahead and done kind of an epoxy thread locker so this doesn't back out while it's in there. You guys can see that. So we're going to give it 20 minutes to set, and then we're going to start reassembling this whole process. We'll clean it up a little bit in the process, and hopefully that'll take care of our issue. Okay, when reinstalling the tab back onto the mirror, it only goes in one way. You can kind of see the remnants of where it was on the back of it, but you've got 2 screw holes that are offset a little bit. This fits in, it slots in pretty tightly there with 2 locating brackets right on the back of it, and the screw holes will line up there, so that part's pretty easy. Okay, so we're getting ready to do the final install, reinstall all this. I've cleaned all the mirrors inside because they had a lot of, I guess, just dust and condensation that had gotten on them over the years. So I think that should help out pretty immensely. So we've got our pin stuck there. Obviously you can order a whole new one of these if you want to, the side piece. I just went ahead and did the metal pin so it's never going to wear out again. You can see on top there, this is where our spring is going to attach. The big spring that's inside here to that. On the bottom we have these teeth with the limit switch, and I'll give you guys a little bit closer view, with the limit switch all the way back towards the mirror side of the unit. You're going to want to install this so 5 teeth are showing. So there should be 3 that are engaged, 5 remaining, and that should get us our correct positioning when we're actually, when we have it installed so it functions like it's supposed to. We've got our bushing on the other side here, so we can go ahead and get that piece installed as well once we put it in there. Should go back together just like it came out. Okay, so we'll get this side in first. Again, this has a locating pin, so it's very easy to get in the right position. Okay, make sure that's snug, but be careful not to strip it. So our mirror assembly can go back in its place here. Let's see if we can get this motor lined up. There we go. So everything's attached. It's got the screw holes, so we know where it's going back into. There we go, it locates. So these, just like most of the areas on here, these have locating pins. So on the front is a little tab that the bracket goes into to locate its position. And on the rear is just the position for the screw. Go ahead and loosely put these in. Okay, so now that we have everything back together, everything is tightened and secured, we're sure of that. We're going to go ahead and get this top reassembled. Again, make sure it's clean. It only goes back in one way. So just very gently make sure it snaps into position. Nothing should require being forced here. Just a little shake and it all pops back in exactly where it's supposed to. From there, we're going to go ahead and screw in all of our corner screws. We're going to clean it up and we'll get it put back into the car. Okay, so at this point we're going to go ahead and reinstall our heads-up display. This should be exactly like taking it apart, so I don't imagine we're going to go through a whole lot of detail. I'll let you know if I run into any hiccups, but we'll go ahead and first just get this in and make sure it works before we put it all back together, and hopefully all goes well. Okay, with all the sensors unplugged, we're going to go ahead and try to get our heads-up display back up. There we go. Full functionality. If you guys can see that, works great, very bright, goes all the way up, much higher than it did before. So I'd call this one a success. It's always such a huge relief whenever a project you're doing goes correctly. So now that we've got the heads-up display functional, it actually works like it's supposed to, not like it was working. Really makes our whole day worthwhile. So we'll go ahead and get everything buttoned back up. We'll disconnect the battery again just to make sure when connecting any sensors it doesn't trigger anything that it shouldn't. Go ahead and connect it all. We'll make sure we install our GPS antenna with the dashboard because that's going to make things a lot easier for us. And we should have a more functional car. And again, we didn't spend any money on this. Well guys, we are done. We have the whole car put back together. Everything is plugged in. Battery is operational. So let's go ahead and fire it up and make sure everything is working. Hopefully it does. And we'll call that a successful day. So far everything seems to be turning on. HVAC system's on. Heads up display is readable for the first time since I've owned the car. So that's a huge improvement. I'll give it just a minute to make sure the Android Auto system accepts that GPS unit, which hopefully it will. And with that, that has been our quest for the day. Hope you guys have enjoyed this, and stay tuned. We'll have more soon.